What's up, YTPC? This is DSG Pipe Smoker with another pipe smoking video, and today I will be doing a review of this Royal Guard from Stanwell. This is their 547 shape, and before I get started, it should be noted that the Pipe Nook has started to sell some Stanwells, including some Royal Guards. Last I checked, there was a couple of pipes under that category on that website. So, if you're thinking about buying a Stanwell from Eddie Gray, hopefully this will help. At least if you're thinking about a Royal Guard, maybe this will give you some ideas as to whether or not you should buy a Royal Guard. But before I go on, a few things of note. This is an estate pipe. Okay, it is an older Royal Guard. It's not the newer ones. The newer ones have an acrylic stem to them. And also, if you look at my weed ghosted pipe videos, this was the pipe that was ghosted with weed. And in order for me to fully restore this pipe, I had to use a bowl coating with this. This is fireplace mortar. Okay, that affects how the pipe absorbs moisture, and it affects the pipe's ability to build up a layer of cake naturally from, smoking your pipe. So I will not be discussing either of those aspects in this review. I will be, however, discussing everything else. So, excuse me, with those out of the way, let's get started. The thing that caught my eye about this pipe, as far as appearance, is just the overall shape of it. You'll notice the top of the stem is relatively flat, and you'll notice that it lines up actually fairly evenly with the rim. So even though you have this kind of this bent shape that's going into the pipe, you can draw a line from the top of the stem to the rim. And my thinking behind getting this pipe was this would be a really good clincher. And it is, but I'll get more into that later. Also, if we look at the pipe, we can see that it is a mix of rustication and smooth. They left the smooth part pretty much towards the rim and a little bit on top of the bowl itself, but the rusticated portion of it is mostly where you would be grabbing it, which I'll get into the ergonomics of it, but that basically helps out with ergonomics. As for stamping, there's the Royal Guard stamping. I still need to get some fingernail polish and use that on the stamp right there so that it can so you can see it a little bit better. And also, if we look here, let me just, hopefully you guys can see that. It says 547, and under that, very faintly, it says Royal Guard, made in Denmark. So those are the stampings, and that's the appearance. It looks to me like it's a bent acorn, at least that's what I've been calling it. So with the appearance out of the way, let's get into the mechanics and the ergonomics of the pipe. This pipe is approximately 5.5 inches, and it's got a bowl or a chamber diameter of about 3/4 of an inch. It's got a little bit over an inch of chamber depth to it. It's actually very similar to this Dagner P5 Devil Ants, both in chamber dimension, and let me see if I can get these two to cooperate. The other thing that they're similar in is the angle in which the chambers are drilled. So, if we look at the P5 is drilled, the whole bowl is straight, but it's canted, obviously. So they had to drill the chamber at an angle, whereas the Royal Guard, the whole bowl kind of swoops down, especially in the front. So what they had to do was they had to cant the bowl a little bit. You can see inside of there. And you would think that would produce a similar smoke, but if you'll notice inside of the bowl, it's actually, I don't know if you can or not because of the lighting, but it's a little bit more conical. Actually, it's a lot more conical than the Dagner P5 Devil Ants. The Devil Ants, the chamber on it is very straight until you get to the bottom, and then it kind of has this oval or U shape on the bottom. Whereas this pipe, the Royal Guard 547, has a much more extreme conical drilling to it, if that makes any sense. So the chamber is drilled a little bit differently, but it's very similar to that of this P5. So moving on from the bowl, the drilling appears to be really good. It appears to be on point. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not, but if you look inside of there, you can kind of see where I put a pipe cleaner. Before I added the bowl coating, before I needed to use the pipe cleaner inside of the bowl, that was exactly where I needed to be. It's probably, because of how I put the coating in, it's probably a little bit, drilled a little bit too deep, but I haven't noticed that in the smoking mechanics of the pipe. It appears to take a pipe cleaner, which I had ready. I may have to grab another one. It takes a pipe cleaner very, very well. You may have to turn it a little bit, but as you can see clearly, absolutely perfect. And actually, this might be a good opportunity to show you the drilling, at least in the chamber. So that's where it's at. You see it's centered. Very cool. Also, because of the shape, and I mentioned this before, but I suspected that it might clinch really well. It actually does. It clinches surprisingly well, but in addition to clinching well, the rustication on this pipe, particularly where it's at, allows it to hold very nicely too. With this, I like to hold it with my index and my thumb, and I like to create a fist to support the roundness of the front of the bowl so that it can stay right there. Also, the draw on it is open, but there is some resistance. You can probably hear it. It's a lot more open than most pipes, but not quite a, well, what would be a good thing to compare it to? Not quite a Missouri Meerschaum corncob. Not quite that open, but somewhat in the middle. Additionally, the vulcanite stem on it is actually a fairly good quality. It cleans up very well. It's not too soft. That's another complaint I have about vulcanite stems. They tend to be too soft, so it's too easy to, produce a lot of bite marks. When I got this pipe, it had that little nick that you see, and I'll probably fix that later, but there's not really a whole lot for wear and tear on this pipe in terms of chatter or tooth marks, and I'm very happy about that. As far as smoking preferences go, I have found that this pipe in particular likes Burley's and over-the-counter non-aromatic blends. Think Carter Hall and Haunted Bookshop or Cornell and Deal's Burley Flake No. 1. Those kinds of blends. Seems to smoke those really well. Overall, I am very impressed with the Royal Guard line, and if this pipe is any indication of the quality that the Royal Guards are being produced today, I would have no problem whatsoever paying full price, full retail for a brand new Royal Guard. I spent about $12 on mine and quite a bit of work trying to restore it. Again, somebody smoked weed out of this pipe. Not that I have anything against that, it's just I don't smoke weed, so I had to deghost this pipe. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Hope you got something out of it. For my next review, I'm going to do a tobacco that I've seen one video on YouTube about this tobacco. It wasn't a review, it was just, it was a good quality video, but all they did was show you the tin and the tobacco inside of the tin. There was no review. So I'm going to fill that niche in a tobacco that doesn't really get a lot of publicity, but I'm actually enjoying quite a bit. And that blend is Captain Earl's Honor Blend. So, with that being said, this has been DSG Pipe Smoker with another pipe smoking video. You guys have a good day.